Thank you for coming to hang out with us. This is Gain and Glow, a happy lifestyle podcast with me, Vanessa.
And me, Crystal.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
What a week. What a day.
Seriously, we've only gone through like a week and a half of this year, and it's been a lot.
Yeah, I feel like it came out like just a swinging. 2021 just started off swinging. Really just jumped into the fight.
Totally. It's quite. It's kind of like what we were saying before. Like, it doesn't really, like, 2020 ends, sure, but 2021, we don't even know what's coming.
Yes, it's almost like we had a premonition that the new year doesn't necessarily bring all new things, and boy, what a reminder to, like, reallocate our energy and realign our focus. And I'm pretty sure, don't you say you had like a saying or like a quote or something about that?
A dope quote?
That's it. The dope quote.
Today's dope quote is brought to you by Anonymous.
We don't even know who said it. It cannot be proven or validated.
Yeah. And here it is. Starve the distractions and feed your focus. Straight to the point.
Straight to the point. It doesn't even need to be validated. Like, we don't know who actually said this, but it's such a good thing to remember. It's almost like a daily mantra I want to just say over and over and over again as I, like, continue to try to navigate the craziness and just continue to push forward.
Yeah.
And stay focused.
Yeah, definitely. I think trying to find some motivation, like, I'm constantly trying to refocus my energy on accomplishing things that I want for, like, my future self. But it's such a struggle when every day there's something new, like, there's something happening, there's a lot of, like, pain in the world, there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of change happening right now. And so it's important not to get lost in everyone else's life when you really only have control of your own.
Yep. And I think one of the hardest things to deal with right now is overcoming those things that tend to suck our energy dry that are not worth the energy. And those are the things those are the distractions that cause us to, like, deviate from the original goal or our plan or whatever. And some distractions, like getting sick and stuff like that, obviously we don't have any control over those, but there's so many things that we do have control over if we actually stop and, like, acknowledge it and, like, take note. Like social media, one of the things that you and I were talking about before we started recording was social media being a huge distraction in such a way that it takes energy and emotional toll because of how, I guess, ignited political and social conversations are right now. It just feels like everything is so filled with passion that it's hard to realize that we don't change the world in the comment section of Facebook, no matter how passionate we are about our beliefs on the current topics.
Absolutely. I think that's really well said.
Why, thank you.
And I feel like, so, like, you know, like Facebook and Instagram, Pinterest and stuff, like, all those like social media apps were so fun and, like, give you insights into what other people are doing and, like, how, like, you can share a little bit of your life that you wouldn't really send out on, like, the yearly Christmas card letter, which I think, like, I don't know how many people still do that. But,
the more and more we have these social media platforms, the less and less we rely on that type of, I'm using air quotes here, old school life update process.
Yeah, and it's funny because there's some things I don't share with my closer friends, like texting or calling them as much, because I am always sharing stuff on Instagram that I just expect that people see it and are up to date, and then some things are kind of some things you think you would share, like getting a new tattoo, and then you tell someone and they're like, oh, I didn't even see that you did that, and then they're like, why didn't you tell me? Like, I would have been really interested. And then you kind of like creates almost this little weird little disconnection where you're like, oh, I thought I was sharing so much that everyone saw it, and it's like, we don't. I mean, and it depends on like how many people you follow, like if you constantly like people's photos. Like, there's just such this crazy algorithm that has changed, how we've seen change from the start of some of these companies. It's like, we started out with MySpace, and it was like, and now look at where we're at, and now look at everything we can see all the time, and you get a little caught up on it, like you get caught up in it, and it is a big distraction from what you're doing with your day, and it causes instant reactions. Like, you either think, like, you smile, you laugh, you get angry or sad based on the stuff that you're, like, the content you're consuming all the time. And so it used to be more fun, and now it's kind of like, we're seeing all the seriousness and everyone's opinions on all the events that are happening, and it's a real distraction from having control of controlling your own emotions. Like, I feel been more stressed out than ever in like the last year. I don't know. 6 months. Like, definitely, like, even this month, I'm like, all right, new year. It's a brand new month. I'm gonna use my planner, and I put like a few things down and some general goals, but like really taking the action steps to make things happen has been really challenging. And I think a big part of it is our energy goes really down with the constant stress of everyone else's like opinions and news, just general news. Like, there's so much you can consume. You can be on it all day and still not feel like you've learned everything about a situation or an event. So I've been trying to limit. It's so unconscious that like I just click Instagram, I close it, and then I click it back open. I'm like, whoa, like, you were just there. You're not even gonna click open Facebook, like. So I've been doing this thing where I've been trying to catch myself. I've been trying to be more mindful of these distractions. So instead of like, we've talked about it. Like, we've deleted apps temporarily to keep us from going on them, and Lately I've been scrolling. I'll do like 2 finger swipes scrolls, and then I'll just close the app. I'm like, you're just wasting your time. You're just distracting yourself because you don't want to sit and like be in your room by yourself anymore. You've been doing that for a year. Like, you want that interaction, but then also you don't want someone else's like opinions like causing your emotions to change. And so like, I know we talked about limiting our interaction, and that's kind of one way that I've been doing it. How have you been doing?
Well, and I'm the same way. I'll close down a social media app, and then it's like subconscious, my finger immediately like hits the app to open it up again when I have every intention of going and doing something else on my phone, because there's a lot of things I do on my phone that have nothing to do with like social media. So when I jump on to do something that's not social media related, I immediately open the app for no reason, just because it's like, it's become second nature. It's become like muscle memory. So one thing I did, I went through my phone and I reorganized all of my apps, and I put my productivity apps and my financial apps, which are the ones that I use my phone for a lot of that kind of stuff. I put those in their own like little folder. I have everything in a folder. Okay, my apps are in folders on my screen, and I like that kind of organization. So I rearranged the folders to be like productivity and financial apps first, and then I kind of lowered the social media one, and then the podcast stuff, I put it up and I separated social media apps into their own folder and put them towards the bottom. So now I actually find myself accidentally opening up my Spotify a lot because it's where my Facebook app used to be, which then I'm like, boom, I probably was looking for Spotify anyways at some point.
And then you just get distracted because you're like, well, I also want to just see what's going on here real quick. And then you're lost. And then you forget. I do that same thing. I'm like, oh, I want to check my bank account. And I'm on Instagram.
Yes.
But, like, we've programmed our minds to do that. Like, we spent a lot of time wanting to, like, you know, either share or look at what other people are doing. And now we do it without even really wanting to.
Yeah. And then
wild.
when I do... I go on social media every day pretty much, and it's a combination of checking stuff for the podcast and checking my own personal page. And this week has been a huge struggle for me to not get lost in the comment section. And that's why I say that, you know, we can't change the world in that comment section, and that's something that I have to try to tell myself a lot, because I think I'm just like everyone else. I start in looking for connection to the outside world, connection to social anything, because we're so isolated right now. And then I find myself being physically, like, triggered by wanting to correct someone or make a comment about something someone else said. I find myself lost in those comments or looking for more. I want to read more of what they're saying. And I've been having to, no tips, tricks, tools, no nothing. I've literally just had to tell myself, shut it down, like turn the app off. I just have to catch myself when I'm doing it and be like, you are physically feeling worked up and ready to, like, defend. And it's because I'm so strong in my beliefs about certain things, and a lot of those things are regarding the current events, and so I have to just tell myself, shut it down, just shut it down, stop, close the comments, move on, like, be the change. Like, what would I rather people be doing right now? I'd rather them not saying things that in the comment section. If we want change, let's do it elsewhere. So I'm trying to consciously just be like, be what you should be, and that's put your energy elsewhere. And some days I win that battle, and some days I do not. And I read and read and read, and then I feel so consumed by it that I'm like, no, this is not a good place to put my energy.
Yeah.
And then I also and then I did also just buy a bunch of acrylic paint and canvases. So I've been trying to do stuff with my hands more, like, creatively, so that I don't have my phone in my hand. I have to admit, I watch Bob Ross on my phone or on the TV while I paint, and I can't pull off his techniques at all, but he gives me inspiration.
He's like, here's some white and some brown. Boom, you have a snowy mountain cap, and you're like, how? I swear I, like, pulled down the paint just like you did.
Yep. Every time. I'm like, my trees look muddy and his trees look fat. I've resigned to blaming it on the brushes. My brushes are probably not good enough. But that's been another thing I've been doing to try to, like, especially avoid the doom of time sucks and energy sucks, like Facebook. Things that are not productive at all. Obviously, I'm not a profound artist that will eventually sell my wares, but it's like fun for me. It's entertaining. It gives me something to do, and then I enjoy it. I like painting. I like the way to me it's like satisfying the way the paint smooths over the canvas. I don't know, but
it's also like a form. It's also like a form of meditation. Like, it brings you into the present moment, which is is such a goal of mine. And also like feels like a daunting task. It's like when I say like I hesitate to meditate and you're like, why? Like your goal is to be more in the moment. Like be in the moment. Like focus on your breathing and even have someone talk to you while it's happening so that like you could remind yourself, stop thinking, like, or just like let your thoughts come and go. Like, let things flow instead of being in like a constant reactionary state where it just gets worked up and stressed out. And then that stress, like, it gets held in your body and it becomes another distraction. Then you're like, I don't want to feel this way. Let me distract myself with something else to make myself feel better. Where it's like, I'd way rather, when you think about it objectively, like, put my time into painting or drawing or you know, doing stuff for the podcast where it's like it's such a joy, and then we start picking apart things that kind of like causes stress or just take our time and attention, and then we're like, oh, let's cut that out. And you're like, before you know it, I'm not painting and I'm posting less on our podcast page. And I'm like, but I still feel stressed out. It's like, well, don't cut out the things that bring you joy in order to get rid of your stress. Cut out the things that are causing you stress.
Yeah.
And focus more on things that like bring your joy. It's like, like the whole feeding your focus. It's like, I just thought that was such a good, it just really got, it's just really to the point. It was like, yeah, I need to focus on the things that I want for myself or the things that make me happy and put more energy into that instead of giving strangers my energy on other platforms where most of the time I don't even comment. So I'm just working myself up for nothing. And it's like, what does that get you? It gets you exhausted. It gets you stressed out. Like, you don't have energy for the things that you love. Like, you're missing the moment of life that's happening, like, right in front of you. Like, one of the things I really like about my home office is my bedroom window, and squirrels pop around all the time in the branches, and right now since it's winter there's no leaves, and so I can see the squirrels like a lot more clearly, and then they play on the branches and they hop up on my roof and like scurry around, and that's so like that just like brings me in a moment of what's happening right now, and you're like, the birds are still chirping, the squirrels are still playing, you still have like a whiny dog who loves you, who wants to go on a walk. Like, those are all good things to like be grateful for. And then when I give him more attention, he's happy. Like my dog Leo, he's happier, and then we're both happier. And it's like, that's what we need more of.
Yeah. And it takes so much like control to like, we have to take control of our focuses and actively reallocate our energy, actively move it from one thing to a different thing. And it's funny because for me, that's always been a lot easier said than done. It's always easy to say, okay, I'm putting all this energy, but then again, subconsciously, muscle memory makes me open that app again. And then I find myself searching for something through these apps again. So it's like, I know what I'm doing. I know what I need to be doing. But actually taking control and doing it is the hardest part of that. And I like that you were saying that you were focusing on like things that bring you to the moment, that center you. Because it's like taking control of where your brain's going. Taking control of how you're using your energy. And I've been doing that a lot actually with trying to meal prep, failing, and then trying again. And it's funny because there's been like obstacles, like I'll be all gung-ho to meal prep and then I get sick and then I'm like, okay, I've got a week of like no meal prep and no consistency of sleep or eat or whatever. But then I can start back over again, and there's some kind of comfort to take and like a centering there when you realize like you have control over that. You have control over what you eat. You're in a position where you can control how often, when you want to cook, when you don't want to cook, and being able to take control of something like meal prepping for me is such a good mechanism to reallocate my energy for something that's actually productive. And I've been trying to use that a lot in the realm of researching about food more and like actually looking into what things go better with other, like what vitamins go well with what types of foods and how it helps absorption and stuff like that. Like just reallocating my energy into not just meal prepping and going on Pinterest and finding a bunch of recipes and buying a bunch of Tupperware and then not actually following through.
That's step one.
Yep, that was my pattern for the longest time. But now it's more of like looking into foods and realizing, you know, what works best and making that work for our family. And that's been such a good way for me to like focus my energy on something else. And especially if I'm getting as far away from the social media type stuff in my phone and I'm really using it for something more of fact finding and research, it's helped a ton. And even though I failed, it's like, well, that's just new opportunity to not fail the next time.
It's true though, but it's like the more you do that, the more you try, the more you learn, the more you'll be better the next time. Like,
and in every aspect, I'm still in control of it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's comfort in that. And then it makes me realize, okay, the things that are worth my energy, the things that are worth my focus are those things, the things that I can control, the things that will directly affect me and I can control how and when and why. And it's like food, fitness, the podcast. These are things that there are mechanisms. They bring joy. They're good long term. All right, that's where the focus is going. That's where the energy will be allocated. You gotta plug up all those little leaky sieve holes of comments.
Yeah, speaking of meal prep, like that's something that like I like to talk a lot about, but like I don't always do it. And with the holidays, I was kind of like, I am cooking a lot on the holiday, and then I am eating leftovers for a week because I love that. I love that about like family gatherings too. I mean, who doesn't love leftovers? But
that counts as meal prepping, right? You're making it all in one day and then putting it in Tupperware for later.
Yeah, it's also like apple pie and cookies and ice cream.
Yeah.
And so like I'll eat a lot of leftovers and stuff, but then like I got in the habit of also having like a lot of desserts around all the time, and so I was always eating dessert. So instead of focusing on like not eating dessert, I just ate one less dessert. Or I would just push it to where I ended eating a little bit earlier in the day because I wasn't sleeping really good with a sugar high at night. And so like those little changes kind of help. They make you feel good because then you're like, oh, well, I see progress even though I just changed one thing. Like I literally just ate a little bit earlier. I literally just ate one less thing and then I got better sleep and my digestion's improving, which means I'm less bloated, which means like I'm feeling better. And then like it's all those little tiny choices that are going to like make us happy in the long run. And so trying to do things on a daily basis is hard because you don't always see the reward right away, but it's really worth it to like get to your goals. And part of that for me is being consistent in my food. So like I think both of us honestly to like avoid inflammation, because like you have a skin condition and then like I have carpal tunnel, and so it's like if either of us get inflamed, like it's like, oh, that jacks up using my arm, which means I'm not painting after using a 10 key all day for 8 hours. And then you're like, oh, my rosy cheeks are not rosy cheeks, they're a rash. And I was talking like how cute Vanessa looks today. She has little rosy cheeks, and she's like, oh, no, let me get close, and you can see that it's a rash.
I'm reacting to something.
Well, you poor thing. Like you've been, like you started the new year. You're like, I'm taking a vacation and I'm gonna have some me time. And then you got sick, and then you had an ear infection, and you're just like, come on, 2021, take it easy.
I know, it's like it's such a good reminder that nothing ever goes like to plan, and some things we don't have control over. So it's funny because when I was sick, I just kind of like halfway through it, I resigned to the idea that okay, like, I'm sick. I'm not going to get anything done. All this, we got these new planners, and they have all the goal setting and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, I'm going to set these goals. And I have, I feel really amped up. And then halfway through being sick, it was just like, I'm making myself feel worse because I was stressing myself out about, like, not getting things done. And not getting things done was making me feel stressed out. And then I was not able to do anything about that. And it was like, okay, no, I can't control this. So to put so much energy into being, like, upset with myself or the situation, it was just a waste. And so, like, halfway through, I was like, you know what can I do? What can I do right now? And I was able to actually, like, still do some stuff in the planner and, whatever I could do, like, laying down and post it up in front of the TV. But now I'm just kind of like, I have that mindset going into the year of, every year we're like, let's do big, great things and put our energy into, like, a fad diet or, joining this hardcore workout, or I'm going to go join a CrossFit gym. And it's like, I think really it's all about where we put our energy, not so much how big that energy is, how big put it where it's going to benefit. And I just kind of gave into that when I was sick. And now I'm like, well, let's just ride this year. Let's gentle structure, focus on the things that are pertinent and feed that focus and starve those distractions. Especially the ones that we put on ourselves.
Seriously, I think that's so well said. Like, I got really stressed out over some things, and then I just thought, I don't want to be stressed out. I am, fatigued. And I think about, like, if you work out really hard and you get muscle fatigue, you need to rest. Like, you need to dial it back. And I'm like, where can I dial it back? How can I, like, change my focus? And so that's been something that I've been working on a lot already this year. And, I mean, we only have so many hours in the day and so much time on this planet. It's like, I want to enjoy it as much as I can.
Our energy is, like, the biggest investment we'll make, and our time. Mm-hmm. And we don't have infinite that, no matter, like, what.
Yeah. So be easy on yourselves, guys. Take it easy.
Yeah. Take it easy. Starve those distractions. Feed your focus. And put your energy where it makes you happy. And in whatever realm and at whatever like size, I guess, that is. I feel like there's so many people that are like, if you didn't get through the pandemic writing that book, girl, then you're just not trying. It's like, nope. We all have different tools. We all have different lives. We all have different existences, but we're all striving for the same thing. And that's overall happiness for ourselves. Hopefully. I mean, I hope everybody wants to, like, love themselves and be happy. You should. And put your energy towards those things. However you do it. However you can. I want to stress that so much.
Right? Like, we're not any different. Like, me and Vanessa came to this conclusion living, like a couple hours away from each other, having different home lives. Like, we're only in so much control of anything at any given time. And so, the biggest thing we can't control is ourselves.
Yeah. How we react to situations and where we put ourselves and our focus that's like number one control that we have. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you find your podcast to stay up to date with our new episodes every Wednesday.
Also, head on over and follow us on Facebook and Instagram and say hello while you're there. And don't forget to drink some water, take a deep breath. You've got this.